Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday night, and I'm here to talk with my friend Anna Scanlon about not one, but two tattoos. These will be in two parts because both are very interesting, and I feel like don't want a 45-minute long video here. So before we start talking about tattoos, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, just Marquette, yourself, and whatever you want to discuss.
Cool. So I am a 6-year PhD student at Marquette.
That's scary.
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm almost done, so it's not so scary anymore.
Yep, then you're leaving me.
Yeah, sorry. But I'm studying literature and diseases in literature, specifically gender-specific diseases in literature. So how we have biases about gender that are present in the way we write about disease. Yeah. Not, like
yeah,
like
yeah,
just
whatever.
Yeah.
We'll talk later about that.
I'm ready.
I should hope so. So, you've brought two tattoos today.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me about the first one you want to discuss?
Sure.
What is it? What's it mean? When did you get it? How'd you get it?
Painfully. So the first one is a tattoo, actually of this pin right here. I got this pin when I made my confirmation when I was in 8th grade at our local Catholic school in Ohio, where I'm from. And I really liked it because I had picked Saint Scholastica for my confirmation saint. I thought, first of all, I had been told, pick a saint that doesn't get venerated as much, because when you pray with them for intercession, they're more likely to hear you because they have less of a following. So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to pick a saint that doesn't get a lot of attention. So I picked her because I really liked, she was kind of in the shadow of an older sibling. And at that point in my life, I sometimes felt in the shadow of an older sibling because my older sister is legit a genius. And so sometimes that was really hard. So I really liked the thought of having her. Her older brother is Saint Benedict, who's super famous for the Benedictine rule for monasteries. But she was also one of the first nuns and used the Benedictine rule in some ways in her convent. So I really, really liked her. And then as I was reading her life story, I found she was very stubborn, so I identified with that.
You never.
Super, super hardcore identified with that. And then I also really, really appreciated the fact that she had a really active prayer life. I thought that was super cool. She had really interesting intercessions with her prayers. And one example, her brother, she knew she was sick and dying, and her brother was like, well, I have to go. They only got to see each other once a year because of the strict rules in their monastery and convent. But he was like, I gotta go. I'm sorry, too bad. And she's like, no, you're not going anywhere. So she prayed really hard, and a storm came up, so he couldn't leave. So she got to spend time with him in her last moments with him. And when she passed, her soul descended to heaven as if like a dove. So my aunt got me this pin because it looked like a dove. And then as I went through college, I had the crisis of faith that I think is pretty standard for people. There was a lot going on. There was obviously a lot of problems in the Catholic Church, and there are some things that I still don't agree with, but I enjoy the idea of reformation from within. So instead of leaving the church, working to make the church better. That's my choice. No judgment on people that's not their choice, though, to clarify, because I also understand. But I really liked the idea of getting a tattoo to symbolize having the Holy Spirit always with me, in the same way that Saint Scholastica seemed to have the Holy Spirit with her. So I got it on my foot. So the Holy Spirit is always with me when I'm making steps and making strides. So I really liked that. I think I got it when I was 21 or 22, so it's been 10 years. Yeah.
I think you mispronounced 4, but...
Thanks.
I tried. But... It's interesting that you mentioned your foot and walk, because that's literally what my entire series is about. It's going in and seeing how the placement of tattoos also impacts the meaning.
Yeah.
And feet are things either that you keep with you constantly because you keep walking with them, but also things that you've left in your past.
Yeah.
And not that you have left this in the past, but it's a part of your past that you've grown
and it is. And I think the crisis of faith thing continues. I think in every life you're always questioning and choosing and arguing and in some way apologizing for faith as well. But I think that's something that keeps me on the path that I'm happy with. Yeah, having it on my foot like that.
So you said it's been years.
Yeah.
Has the meaning changed at all since getting it?
Yeah. So my aunt, that was my confirmation sponsor, actually passed right before I came to Marquette. She had ovarian cancer and passed very quickly. But I always admired, she died with grace. She died in the most beautiful way. She got to do all of these things before she died. She would say all the time, I don't have a lot of time left, you know. She would let us know that. She was very young. She was early 50s, which is incredibly young to my way of thinking, especially as I get older. But I admired so much how she lived, even those last painful weeks, with this confidence that she would get to be born again in heaven. And I really liked that. So for me now, it carries the additional reminder of her and just being graceful, even in very, very trying or difficult moments. Yeah.
Oh, that's so. That's so good.
My next one isn't as cool as that. I don't think so.
Okay, the fact that, like, spoiler alert, she has her own family crest. Like, I'm dealing with royalty. Dealing with royalty.
Oh no. You're dealing with superstitious Irish people. That's what it is.
So, you've got several tattoos, and I don't know, something that I've been kind of decided to ask as well is, if you were to get another one, what would it be? Where would it be?
I would get it again on my other foot though. It is incredibly painful. It feels like a hot knife slicing through your skin, which is essentially what it is.
Like just the foot or all of them?
My arm ones didn't hurt at all. My foot ones hurt like a mother. But I would get a forget-me-not on my foot for the wonderful women who have led me, either in my research or in my family, to become the person I am today. Forget-me-nots are my favorite flower. They're also the flower for my birth month, which I just found out 2 years ago, actually, when my sister deployed, and she's one of the women I would think of in that. So it would be less religious and more spiritual, that one.
I mean, but that's still, your family's very important.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like that all just kind of ties together, because your two tattoos that you have that are religious are based around your family, which then I think they all just kind of tie together, which is very interesting. Yeah. Also, you're doing my work for me with this whole place and things. You're like, yes, meaning I've thought it out, we're good.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't think out my arm one that carefully, but I'll tell you why I did when we get there. Yeah. Don't worry. I don't want to spoil it.
I can help there. All right. Wow. Well, I think we're ready to delve in to part 2.
Awesome.
So for those of you watching, thank you so much for watching episode, I think we're on 3 now. So in the next one, we will again be talking with Anna.